finally really here. Time for change. Droppin Gems. Time for change consulting, to be exact. LLC. My business is registered as a for-profit. What can you say about yours? Yes, it's a clinician's perspective to business. Okay, I am giving you the perspective in business consulting to the best of my abilities because I am a clinician. All right. So we have talked about a lot of things, y'all. We have talked about all of the business planning. We've talked about the DUNS, the EIN, next code. We've talked about every single thing that you could think of in registering and making sure that you have credit worthiness, right? Credit worthiness to make sure that you are visible online the way how you're supposed to be. We've talked about so many things. And if you have not watched episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're missing a wealth of information and you need to go back and you need to watch. Okay? You need to go back and watch and write them gems down. So I want to talk today about what everybody always asks me about. Yes, I finally got to episode 11 and now I'm going to tell you some gems about the things that you've been asking me about. Everybody wants to ask Tanya Ridley about grants, Tanya Ridley about contracts. So here I am to present to you some information from a clinician who has been doing this business for 9 years, okay? So I am going to give you information that you would usually pay for from a consultant. You would usually subscribe and listen more. You would usually find a person who experts in these things, such as myself, to pay them. Yeah, I know. And this point, you still are receiving information for free with a $5 book that you probably didn't buy, the business basics, the bottom line. I need you to understand that it will come a time that I won't be giving you this much information. But until then, enjoy the show. All right? So let's talk about grants and contract success and navigating this landscape. So first of all, Washingtonians and Marylanders and Virginians, you have the benefit because you're right here beside the government. It's no reason for you not to be able to develop some type of business that will thrive from the government using you right here next to where you are, okay? So it's important to understand that a lot of people look to DC as a palette of how they do things. And DC, meaning DC, Maryland, and Virginia, of how we do things here to support everything else that's going on there, out in the world. I have talked to you about making sure that you're registered with certain things like SAM.gov. Making sure that you are a vendor for the government. Because those things are necessary for you to move forward. Okay? You cannot obtain any grants or any contracts without being on that vendor list. You need your next code, you need your DUNS code, you need your EIN. You can't be on that list and you can't be eligible for funding if you don't have that. I'm trying to give you a wealth of knowledge because, as I said in previous shows, everybody's a business owner until they're not. If you haven't done the homework or the things that you need to do so far and you're still watching me, ask yourself, why? All she's going to do is go to the next thing. Why? Why are you watching me? If you can't go to the next thing, why are you still watching me? Why are you still here? All right? Please keep in mind that because Washington, D.C. is the palette, right? We always have government contracts, funding opportunities for all different types of sectors in the employment world. So you are in a prime location to do the unique things that you do in your business right here, because we have a melting pot, mixing bowl of different types of people who would do these things. You have to understand that you have a couple of different grants. You have federal, you have state, you have local, and you have private. The climate of the world right now, I'm going to tell you, you better be looking for some private stuff. People who are giving out money to support the mission at hand. Remember when we talked about the business thing, right? Business to business relationships. Those corporations are private and like to give money to other corporations. You have to find, and those are going to be more now than the government funding because of all of the changes and all of the things that's going on right now with the government. So as a business entrepreneur, I'm giving you a whole tactic to shift, right? Because you got to shift your business plan when you asking for funding. So why can't you got to shift your whole business back and forth to do the things that you need to do? You got to shift where you're looking at for the funding. You got to shift how you put your money, not in an IRA, but in a life insurance policy, so that you don't lose money. You're going to have to start seeing those things ahead of time in the future. So, federal, state, local, and private, okay? Common industries that benefit from the grants that's around in this area is education, health, research, nonprofit work, and technology. Those are like the top ones that DC is like, or Virginia is looking for. Now, can you find some other funding and grants that are going to cater to your particular business? Yes. You might want to pay a consultant to research those types of grants that's dedicated to your business. That is the whole point of a consulting. Is you work with a consultant to kind of just talk about your stuff. Understand how certain stuff is applicable to you. All right? So, people always ask me, where do you go? Where do you go to find these grants? Well, it's a website. It's so difficult, and I'm going to tell you what it is. It's called grants.gov. People ask me all the time, and I'm like, that's like the first website that pops up when you're looking for grants. It's grants.gov. Those grants.gov, right? It's like more, if you have a gov, it's more federal. It's grants that are federal. That's what you're looking for. You cannot apply for those grants without being registered with the SAM.gov. Without having your NAICS code, without having your DUNS number, without having all of those things that we talked about. You can't even apply if you don't have none of that stuff. You can't even apply. You can look at different agencies that's in the government. Like, NIH, DOE, all these other federal government agencies, they post funding on their websites that they're looking for, what they're looking for. Okay? Then you have the local, right? So we talked about local. So DC government has a local grants portal. The state of Maryland and Virginia have a local grants portal. Grants.gov is a federal, but you can go local into these states. All of these states have these grant portals. Okay? They have grant portals, they have databases, they have all of these things that will tell you what it is. Now, we're going to get to the bottom of how to read grants, how to write to them, how to do all of those things. Now, I don't know if I'm going to provide that information for free. It's a lot. It's a lot. And it's so much that a 30-minute podcast is not going to do it. It's not. So be looking out for that. The private grants and the private foundations are always the top ones. It's like Ford Foundation or Gates Foundation. But you could look for all these foundations and corporations that are trying to give back. Now, those are ones that's in our area, but you could look into MGM. Now, we have MGM. MGM gives out money in grants on the local level. They want you to use the money in the local level. How are you going to use that money? They're looking. They want you to apply. Big corporations such as those, so like MGM and, sometimes when Target was doing better, they'll give out grants. Yeah. And I don't like naming anything, but they do. Best Buy gives out grants. Okay? All of these foundations are looking for tax write-offs. They're looking for some business to give to that will relate to their mission and their goal at hand. Now, scholarships are different than grants. Scholarship is for a person who wants to go to school. So like Time for Change gives out scholarships with our funding that we receive. That's different. Grants are put out there so that individuals, you could pitch your company, which we will talk about in a certain way, so that you could receive the funding from them. But it has to meet their mission, right? So remember I told you that business plan, you won't cater to this funding, you won't cater to that funding, you won't cater to this funding. We already talked about that. So see, I layered it. I'm getting you prepared. All of this stuff is the outskirts of business. It's not in, because I need to talk to many people abroad who's watching my show. All right. It is a directory, like foundation directory online, that you could look up different foundations. Foundation directory online that you could find, donations. You could sign up for a funding alert from the DC government. And I'm pretty sure that Virginia and Maryland has a funding alert where every time they drop funding, they email you. Like how I give you a gem. You see all these gems? They will email you and say, hey, we got some gems to drop. We want you to apply for this. Do you have a storefront? Do you have this? Do you have that? Oh, you don't have that? Do you want that? We have a grant for that. We have a beginner grant for you to have a storefront of this, of that. Are you a business owner in DC? Are you a business owner in Maryland? Well, guess what? DC has buildings that they're about to fill because restaurants about to close down. So guess what? They want to fill it. Are you the next person? Are you the next person to put in that funding category? Does your NAICS code match what they're going to be looking for? You know, they have other things like Grant Watch, so you could like watch the grants that come. It's a whole thing for people to find money. People have positions in their company just to find free money. I so happen to be that person with time for change because I still don't make enough money to pay somebody else to do that for me. And I'm trying to equip my entrepreneurs to be equipped to do it for themselves as well, because it is expensive to have somebody to find money for you. It's expensive for them to organize your money for you. So you figure you got an accountant, you got all of these people that you need to pay to organize your stuff. Okay, you'll get there. But you have to know these resources so that you can tell them what they need to do to support you in finding this funding. So yeah, it's another website that's called Candid. So take a look at that. That's for grants and finding grants, and it's even resourceful for what you need. Every announcement of funding is always going to tell you what you need and what your business plan needs to gear to. The banks won't, but the grants will. The banks won't, but the grants will. The banks are not going to tell you what they want you to have. They're not going to do it. I'm going to tell you that. I already built you up. I already said those things that you needed to hear. But they're not going to tell you. The grants will, though. My Time for Change company has been running off of grants and contract-based revenue. It is not running off non-restrictive funds. I barely get donations. I have one faithful donor every single year. So you can have a nonprofit organization that collects money from other places to support your mission. And you can run it effectively. A lot of people don't know that. You can. I don't receive donations or anything like that. But I know a lot of nonprofits who do. And they do great. They do great. But guess what? They still try to get the magic for me. They still be trying to get the magic of how you write grants, how you get these contracts, how you do this stuff. They still trying to get it for me. And that's okay. It's okay. Because guess what? I'm here on Droppin Gems to drop knowledge. So it's very important to understand, right, where you are when you're writing grants or you're writing contracts. You have to know your surroundings and what is the businesses that's around you. And remember the market analysis to have an understanding of everything that's around you. That is important in the landscaping out what grants will be more accessible to which places and where you could find those grants at. Okay? So you gotta be able to surveillance your area to know who are the major funders and who are, who's open to giving back. Okay? Grants can be given. You don't have to always do nonprofit work. Grants could be given for other businesses to spin off of other businesses to spin off to other businesses to spin off. It is something that people do. So in understanding certain things in landscaping, you have to make sure that you register your company as necessary in any capacity or form for that grant to be successful. What does that mean? All right. So a lot of people get their business registered like a small business administration business. So they will be considered a CBE, a DBE, right? An MBE, minority-based business, enterprise, disadvantaged small business enterprise, small business enterprise. These different codes attached onto your business, which let me tell you is a process, but it will get you notifications of funding, because if you are an MBE or you are a CBE or you are a SBE or you are a DBE, you are more qualified in business. Now, these things are active right now for you to be successful. Now, whether or not it's going to go downhill or it's going to be around, I don't know. But TFCC is a for-profit that is a SBE, and it is a MBE, and it is a DBE. It is a disadvantaged business, it's a small business enterprise, and it's a minority-owned business. And it's a small business. And guess what? It qualifies for funding that I ain't even tapped into yet. I got some workshops and some things that they sending me to. They want me to, come out in Maryland somewhere to this place that is going to be talking about giving funding for police departments to do certain things with computer literacy. Because I am an MBE and I'm an SBE. And guess what? It's not many on the list for them to email, so they won't email me. Y'all gotta wake up. Are you asleep yet? Or are you woke yet? Because you gotta wake up. My nonprofit, when I looked in the system after I started getting like all of the government contracts, all the grants, all of the different things, they start registering me as an MBE because they said this nonprofit is owned by Tanya Ridley. She's a black woman. Let's just give her the thing. But I have all of that I went through the whole process with TFCC, which is a whole process. And guess what? The process is not through the SBA. The process goes through the Department Transportation. How about that confusion? Jim. Because guess what? That's what they do. They try to mix all of these things up like a scrambler so that you can't find it or you don't know. And it wasn't until I took myself to a workshop and I was listening, I said, why on earth would you go to the Department of Transportation for SBE indication on your business? What sense that? We don't know why that office handles it, but it do. And I know. I can hear the hood perspective, I know. But I'm telling you, they're not going to tell you what I'm doing right now. They're not going to tell you this. I'm dropping gems, y'all. Y'all need to understand. This is why I'm the only one here, because I need you to be focused. You need to be listening. Even if I'm in your ear, you need to know that these indications on your business is what's going to help you get through grants. So, this is a segment of the next show, right? Because now I'm going to go into contracts. But this is a segment and segue into the next show. It's going to be so important for you to understand that all of these things need to be in place. What prepares you for a grant prepares you for a contract. It's levels to it. I need you to make sure that you're doing your homework. Don't just be watching me, because now I done got you focused just with me. It ain't no hot seat. I'm the hot seat. I am here to give you the clinician's perspective of business. I am here to break it down because psychologically they try to trip you up all the time, and I'm here to give it to you straight so that you understand. I'm here to have it written up so that you understand. I'm here to make sure that you don't have any barriers to understanding obtaining funding for your business. Whatever trade, whatever thing that it might be, you are going to be equipped with Time for Change Consulting. I would like to thank you for listening to me again today, because I know you're about tired of just listening to me. But you still come back because I'm dropping them gems every other Tuesday at 6 p.m. I look forward to talking contracts with you all next 2 weeks. Thank you so much, and y'all have a wonderful day, and do your homework. Stop coming here thinking you're going to learn something new that you can just do without doing what you already learned. You'll fail. Bye. commend you for your commitment to your entrepreneurship. I'm going to help you along the way every other Tuesday at 6 p.m. Droppin Gems. You can drop any comments that you would like about business registration. But I look forward to talking to you on the next show, y'all. And the next show, we're going to be covering some stuff. Let me see what we're going to be covering. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you got to check in and see. Y'all have a wonderful day.